I got that sunshine in my pocket. Got that.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tustamina Learning Links, your link to learning. I'm Mrs. Hanson and I'm one of the CCLC tutors with the Kasilof Boys and Girls Club. So today we're going to be learning about finding factors. So if you're following along at home, make sure that you have a piece of paper out, a pencil, or a whiteboard so that you can follow along with me because we're going to be learning by doing, not just by watching. Okay, let's get started. So first, before we even set up our problem, I wanted to review our math vocabulary. So if you remember, a factor is a number that goes into another number evenly without a remainder left over. So let me show you an example. So if I had 5, and I think about how many times that goes into 20, okay? Have you thought of it? So 5 goes into 20 4 times. And we know it goes into it evenly because if we count it 5, 10, 15, 20, there's nothing left over and it went into it 4 times. So both 5 and 4 are factors of the number 20. Now let's apply that again but in a different way. So I'm thinking about 5 again. And maybe I go a little bit bigger. Let's go to 23. So I know that 5 can go into 23. However, it can't go into it evenly, so 5 is not a factor of 23. Okay, so let's start with a practice problem. Say your math book asks you to find the factors of 10, okay? So find the factors of 10. So I want to show you a trick here, and this is what I use like to this day, even as an adult, to find factors. It's called a factor rainbow. So the very first 2 factors of any number are 1 and then itself. So it asks the factors of 10. So using that first trick, the first 2 factors will be 1. Actually, let me write it down here a little bit lower so we can add our other trick in. 1 and then 10. Those are my very first 2 factors. Make sure that you have the numbers spread out kind of far apart just because we don't know how many factors are going to go in here yet. So we want to have a lot of space inside just in case we end up having a lot of factors. Okay, so now this is the fun part. I call it the factor rainbow. Every time you make your 2 factors, make a little line, a curve that looks kind of like a rainbow to the 2 factors, connecting the 2 factors. Okay, so the next step in finding factors is we look at our very first factor, which is going to be the first factor of every single number, 1. So I think 1, I'm going to start counting upwards. Okay, so what comes after 1? 2. So I know that 2 is an even number, 10 is an even number, so 2 is going to go into 10. It's going to go into it 5 times. So I'm going to write that factor here. And I know when they connect, 2 times 5, that's going to equal 10. So see how we're starting to get a little rainbow here? That's going to help us remember to connect our factors. Okay, so let's keep counting upwards. 3 would be next. 1, 2, 3. 3 is not a factor of 10 though because it doesn't go into it evenly. I would have 3, 6, 9, that's 3 times, but then there's 1 left over to get 10, so that doesn't go into it evenly. So let's keep going. Let's go to 4, and that would be 4, 8, 12. That doesn't go into 10 evenly, so that's not a factor. The next number would be 5, but look at our factor rainbow. We already have 5 here, so that means that we are all done, and this is our factor rainbow. This shows the factors of the number 10. So even though this is nice and pretty and fun and awesome, your teacher might not want you to write the factors this way. When you're all done with your factor rainbow, list out your factors nice and neat so that your teacher can understand your answer. So that would just be 1, and make sure you put commas between the numbers when you separate them. 2, 5, and 10. Those are my factors of 10. Okay, so let's try again with another number. Let's do the factors of 24, a little bit bigger. So following our first rule, I already know what the first 2 factors are. They're going to be 1 and then the number we're working with, which is 24. So 1 goes into 24 times. I'm going to spread them out nice and big to fit my other factors in there, and then I'm going to connect them, make my first line of my rainbow. Okay, so let's keep counting upward to get these factors. So 2 would be next, 2 is an even number, 24 is an even number, or let me rephrase that. 2 goes into every even number. So I know 2 is going to go into 24 12 times. I'm going to write that here. And then don't forget to connect them. Okay, so let's keep going. 3 would be next. And if you're not super fresh with your multiplication facts, you can use a multiplication chart to help you find your factors. So 3 does go into 24 evenly, and it goes into it 8 times. So I'm going to write that here and connect them. And I know my rainbow's not the prettiest, but I think you guys get the point that we're starting to connect them more and more. You'll see that as we get more factors, this space in the middle starts to shrink and get smaller. So after 3 would be 4. 4 does go into 24, and it goes into it 6 times. So after 4 would be 5, okay? 5 does not go into 24 evenly. After 5 would be 6, but we already have 6 written down. So that means our factor rainbow is complete, and these are all of our factors. So once again, we're not going to leave our answer like this. We're actually going to write them out in a list so they're nice and neat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Okay, so those are our factors of 24. So we're going to try one more problem before I let you guys go, but first let's do our easy peasy math fact. So we're starting to get into winter, and it's getting cold outside. So let's imagine that we had a beautiful winter day. It was nice and sunny and clear, but because it was clear, it was also really cold. Let's say it was 10 degrees outside. The next day, it warmed up a little bit, and we actually got some precipitation. But it was still below freezing, so our precipitation was snow. Okay, so let's say it warmed up to 22 degrees, and then it was nice and snowy the next day. So one day was 10 degrees, the next day was 22 degrees. How many degrees warmer was the second day than the first day? Give us your answer for the easy peasy math fact. Okay, so let's start on our next and last problem. It's going to be the factors of 30. So make sure you get this written down on your paper to start while I erased up here. Okay, so factors of 30. The very first 2 factors are going to be 1 and 30. And I have a nice big space here, and I'll make my first line to connect. Perfect. So now our next number would be 2. 2 goes into every single even number. 30 is an even number, so it's going to go into it 15 times. Okay, 3 comes next, and that does go into it evenly. It goes into it 10 times. 4 does not go into 30 evenly, so we'll just keep going. 5 does go into 30 evenly, and it goes into it 6 times. So now you'll see I have my rainbow here. My next number would be 6, but it's included on my rainbow, so I am all done. Let's list out our factors of 30. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, 30. Okay, that's how you find factors, guys. Please look out in the future for more videos, for more educational help, and thank you for learning with Tustamina Learning Links. Have a great day.
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul.